Hello, welcome to Sephra's World. My name is Sephra, and this is my world. And right now, not only is it Chinese New Year and Year of the Pig, but it is also Women in Horror Month as well as Black History Month. Now, when Women in Horror Month was first invented, I guess about a dozen years ago now, I felt like we didn't need it. I felt like it was another way to ghettoize women and to segregate women and to show that it is unusual to have a woman horror writer, so we have to pay special attention. I didn't like it because at the time that Women in Horror Month was invented, I was a mass market author working in the horror field. I never had a problem getting published aside from the fact that I had to keep sending out my stuff until I wrote something that people wanted to publish. I never felt that my sex was an issue with trying to get published. I was naive in the fact that growing up, I wanted to grow up to be a horror writer, and it never occurred to me that I couldn't because I was a woman. And I just went and did it. And I guess this is partly because I grew up in the 70s and my parents were both musicians. They were both university professors and they shared the housework. They shared their roles. Mom was a working mom, but cooking and stuff, but dad cooked too. And so I didn't grow up like noticing that there were gender roles in a great way because I grew up in a shared kind of vision world, and so it never occurred to me that there was a problem, and I still don't think there is for me. For me, because of how I've handled my career. Yes, I haven't been prolific the last few years, but that's nothing to do with being a woman writing horror. It has to do with me not having my shit together. Okay. But I do know, because I am the Ontario chapter head of the Horror Writers Association, so I am always trying to listen to what my chapter members have to say, as well as anyone working in the horror field. And this is why I do the Writers Behaving Badly videos, and I write blogs about things, and I run my monthly chapter because I do want to know what's happening in the field and how we can all help each other rise up. So I've noticed over the last few years that there has been kind of an issue with an old boys club and young women trying to break into it. It does seem in a way, much like most of America, like the United States, things kind of seem to be going backwards with regards to women's rights and so on. Now, it's very complicated but very interesting, and so for someone from my age, at my age, I'm in my 50s. I've seen a world where women had very little rights and expand to women pretty much being equal in many ways. Outside, I'm not talking about horror, just in society. And for an example, in the 70s, uh, there used to be home ec and industrial arts. And it was given that in grades 7 and 8, all the girls took home ec classes and all the boys took industrial arts classes. In home ec classes, girls learned how to sew and cook. And in industrial arts classes, they would build like birdhouses and learn working with wood and stuff like that. I'm not even sure what they did. But I do know that when I hit grade 7, I didn't want to take home ec. I already knew how to cook and sew because my mom had taught me, and I already knew all that stuff. I didn't want to make these stupid baby recipes with Bisquick and stuff because I knew how to make all kinds of amazing things from since I was a very little kid, because every Sunday I would cook and my mom would teach me stuff. So me and I had another friend who also knew how to cook, and I think most girls in the 70s knew how to cook and clean. Not clean, but sew. Because, the clothes weren't as mass produced as they are now, and budgets were tighter and so on. So me and my friend, we were unhappy about having to take home ec. We wanted to take industrial arts. So we complained to the school and they said, no, your girls have to take home ec. And ultimately, one of our friends, whose mother was in politics, heard about this. And so long story short, We paved the way for girls having the right to choose whether they wanted to take home ec or industrial arts. By the time the bills all went through, me and my friend were too old. We had to go take home ec, 2 years of home ec, and then we're off to high school. But future generations were able to choose. And so these are the types of things that happened in the 70s and 80s. And I don't consider myself special. It's just how it was. And I've spent my whole life doing marches, whether it's women's rights or no nuclear war or anti-gun or whatever I'm into. I do not consider myself a social justice warrior. I may have thought I was at one point, but over the last 4 or 5 years, I can tell you right now, I am not a social justice warrior. I am just a regular person trying to make my way in the horror world or in the world in general. What is disturbing me now is I watch a lot of YouTube videos over the last year or so. I'm single and I'm interested in stuff. I've been watching a lot of Star Wars stuff because I'm a big Star Wars nerd, and this is something I've been able to embrace now that the kids are gone and I'm alone and I have a lot of time to think and enjoy my hobbies. But what's disturbing me on these Star Wars channels that I'm seeing a lot of young women kind of hopping on the same bandwagon as the men are doing, saying things that, and I know where they're coming from because I'm unhappy with the way Disney has been handling Star Wars too. Believe me, I'm totally unhappy. But seeing these young women saying we don't need to see women or we don't, the segregation thing, it's upsetting to me because they're in their 20s, they don't realize historically how hard it was to get to this point where we can even say this stuff out loud. And I would hope now in Women in Horror Month that even though Star Wars isn't horror, it's science fiction, but it's still genre fantasy stuff, right? And I would hope that these ladies will educate themselves on women, how women came to be. And I'm not talking about being feminists because I don't like that word anymore either. I don't consider myself a feminist. I just consider myself someone trying to survive in the world. And like I said, I never felt that I didn't have a career because I was a girl. I, like I said, I pitched and pitched books until, there was one they liked and I had mass market career. That publishing house went under. That's why I don't have that career anymore because of that particular publishing house went under, and I will go to another one at some point. And I have published with small houses in the meantime. So I just want these girls, especially the Star Wars girls, to really, I know you're just trying to get clicks and you're trying to be edgy and you're trying to, get Disney's attention to hear what you have to say and all of that. But you got to be careful because right now, yes, you're playing with the boys. And let me tell you, when I was a Star Wars nerd, when I saw Star Wars when I was 14, yeah, it was a totally different world and girls didn't watch Star Wars and all that. So you're very lucky to live in a society now where you can go on YouTube and you can speak your mind as a woman. It wasn't that long ago where women didn't even have the right to vote. And even when within my lifetime, women couldn't open bank accounts without their husband's permission. Women couldn't get credit cards without their permission. When my parents worked at the university, my mom was considered part-time even though she was full-time because only one person in a married couple could be a full-time person with benefits at a university, and it was the man, and so on. And the young ladies today, they don't understand how this has all come about. And so I would just caution you to look at history. I understand the frustrations. I too have never thought Star Wars was sexist ever, and I saw it in 1977. They had a woman princess, Princess Leia. They had people of color. They had, they're saying diversity, like Darth Vader's an amputee. He has no arms and legs and he uses a mask. They always had aliens, except for the new Disney movies don't have the same kind of robust aliens as in people from other planets and various races of all the different planets commingling and doing stuff, like Han Solo talking to Greedo to get, information, then shoots him dead, and all these types of things. it didn't need to be Disney-fied. And so I'm just as mad as everyone else with what Disney's done. Believe me, I am furious. But please, ladies, think about what you're saying with regard to the women. I hate the character of Ray, and it's nothing to do with being racist or sexist. It's a badly written character. So focus more on the writing and the storytelling, and try not to get too much into all this nonsense of putting down women, because we do need to raise each other up and rise up. And the force is not female. But anyway, I'm supposed to be talking about women in horror, but I'm just remembering some of the stuff I saw in these videos, and it was upsetting, which is what compelled me to do this. And of course, none of these ladies will ever see this video because no one watches my channel. But we have to remember, and as women in horror, I don't want you ladies to be squawking about how women aren't being published, because we see time and time again when we pull out the numbers that women are not submitting. Um, and so you need to put your money where your mouth is. Because I actually, about 5 years ago, I did. Everyone I saw complaining on Facebook about women are being published, wow, wow, wow. And then I'd say, so what was your experience? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, well, I'm working on something, but I haven't sent anything in or whatever. So they're just squawking on the bandwagon without actually putting the sweat and time and energy into polishing up a manuscript 100 million times and submitting it to the correct and proper markets in the correct and proper format at the correct and proper times to the correct and proper people. And so that takes a lot of homework and research and time and devotion. So you are in control of your own careers, ladies, whether you're in horror or science fiction or space opera or romance, whatever your genre deal is. Um, at the end of the day, you can put whatever name you want on the manuscript. And as far as I'm concerned, every time I see someone using initials as a name, I figure it's a woman. So you're not fooling anyone with that crap. So just write the best work you can write, see what's relevant in the genre, submit to places that publish stuff like the stuff you're submitting, and be your own best friend by making yourself be in the right place at the right time. Talent is usually a given. It's all the other stuff you really have to focus on, and only you can help yourself build your career. So don't be slamming down men. And don't be slamming down your fellow women. We all need to help each other. And if you're in the Toronto area, want to come to my horror writer meetings, just come on in. We're all trying to help each other with networking. And you don't have to be a woman. I'm in a women's writing club, but my chapter is for everyone, co-ed. We're all there. And we're there to help each other and to network, man or women. So enjoy this Women in Horror Month. I'll probably have more stuff to say another time too. But I just wanted to get that out there because it's been bugging me for about a week now, and I needed to say something. Okay, bye.